Hi, everybody. It's Monday night, and I'm a little late getting this posted because I've been following up on some things, and I've been thinking about how to talk to you tonight because these are very ugly times. And I have been called names by every side you can think of. I've also been offered prayers by some good people, too. So I realize you have to choose your words very carefully. I also understand that no matter what I say, I'm going to piss somebody off. But I feel that we have been chatting since the beginning of COVID, and I know that a lot of people appreciate my explanation on things. Again, you can agree or disagree. Right? So that's where I'm coming from here. So I'm going to try to explain to you as I see it and as I understand it. And am I a constitutional expert? No. Are the dozens of people who agree with me, disagree with me, whatever, are they constitutional experts? No. They've read the Constitution, they've heard somebody explain it to them, but are they a constitutional expert? No. And what constitutes a constitutional expert? There are a lot of people who claim to be constitutional experts. When everything that is decided or is argued about constitutionally, it ends up in the Supreme Court. And these 9 jurists are, even they individually aren't constitutional experts in the sense that their one vote doesn't change the world. There has to be a majority, right? So even as a whole, an individual jurist on the Supreme Court isn't truly an expert. It's the body that comes together and decides, and majority wins. And that's where we're at now. Again, I'm just explaining this as I see it, and again, I am no constitutional expert. But there's a word that I learned here in the last 10 days or so, maybe 20, plenary powers. And that basically says that the electorate or the legislature has has power, has influence. That's our area of influence, is elections. That doesn't mean that, as I'm being told by constitutional experts, that doesn't mean that we can wave a wand at any time and what we say is gospel or constitutional. Because there are parts of the Constitution that defend other parts of the Constitution or contradict other parts of the Constitution. For example, we have plenary powers. We have control over elections. That's true. But people have equal protection under the law. That's part of the Constitution. And so the argument is, yes, we can control the rules and regulations of an election, but you have to put all those rules in place so that going into the game, so to speak, the election, everybody knows what those rules are. And you can't change them after the fact. Now, some will argue, and again, I'm just trying to explain this. I'm not saying that I'm an expert, but I'm just trying to explain to you as it's explained to me. Some are saying, well, your powers as a legislature means you can change this at any time. Others would say, and have, no. Because of the equal protection clause in the Constitution, you can't change the rules after the fact. Before the next election, have at it. Change them any way you want. But this election, these rules have to stand. So that's the crux of where we're at right now. Again, I'm just trying to explain it, lay the groundwork. Now, I'm sure that with what I'm about to say, I will get hateful comments calling me every name in the book, saying I'm not a patriot, that I'm not an American, or for whatever reason, okay? But I started this with the COVID, and I've tried to explain other issues that have come up through the months. and explain to you as I see it and as I understand it. And I am talking now to the people primarily who have said, Jack, we appreciate your reasoned explanation. Don't always agree with you, but we appreciate your reasoned explanation and that you don't hide from us, that you're here telling us what you think. So that's why I'm here tonight. I almost didn't do this video tonight because it's so freaking ugly out there right now. But I thought, you know what? We have a bond and I owe you my thoughts. I'm just one man, one representative in this state and in the country. And when people say, you represent me, I do. I represent about 93,000 people. And they all have different opinions. And I think I've heard from about 90,000 of them. So I move on. Where are we at with this? The battleground states. I voted or signed on to the Texas lawsuit last week. That pissed a lot of people off, made some people happy. But what I said on Friday still holds. The reason I did that was because I'm trying to get a grasp on what to do, right? I'm like a jurist. I'm like a jury member, right? And we have to decide what to do. So I thought, all right, if I show support and we can get the Supreme Court to look at this, that will tell me something. Because remember, they're the ultimate authorities, right? As I mentioned earlier, there's 9 of them, but they're the ultimate authorities. So if they look at this and they decide, yes, no, whatever, I will abide by that. So as I understand it, that vote, remember, majority rules on the Supreme Court, 7 of the justices, and remember, even if you take Roberts out of there, the conservatives still hold sway. 7 of the 9 said, no, this doesn't have standing. That tells me something. Another issue that I think is important for people to understand, especially here in Michigan, the battleground states where all of this has been fighting, all sent the Biden electors to Washington. Their votes are being sent. None of the other states, not speaking of Michigan, none of the other states sent a dual set of electors or did anything to disrupt that. That tells me something as we look at the constitutionality of doing this sort of thing. Again, you can agree or disagree. I'm just explaining to you as I see it. That tells me something. All the states that are battleground, including Michigan, didn't do anything out of the ordinary. They stayed with it. Why? I believe the equal protection under the law. Plenary powers, one thing, equal protection, in theory, to some people's thinking, would conflict. All right, I move forward. Antrim County. That's been a hotbed. Well, today, the report was released. I have not, I've got a copy of it. I haven't had a chance to sit down and read the whole thing, but I've read the excerpts that are flying around the internet. And let's say that, for conversation's sake, so I can make my point, let's say it was the Biden campaign that was in dispute here. They were the ones fighting. And the Antrim County the Biden supporters were watching that report from Antrim County, and things were changed. And it came out appearing to be fraud, or at the very least, some very questionable things. One of the questions I know their supporters would ask, or the opposition would ask, well, who paid for the report? Now, hear me out. I'm not alleging anything. The point is, that report was not really truly done under a totally objective scan or report. who paid for the report. My point is, there's a lot of information in there that needs to be dissected. Tomorrow, the Dominion folks are speaking before a Senate Oversight Committee. I have a feeling Senator McBroom is a pretty sharp customer, and that report will be brought up. Dominion does have the right to counter any of those questions. It's the way it works in this country. You're allowed to defend yourself. So that will happen tomorrow. All right? The other thing that I hear out of this, I see it in the comments, I read it in the emails, is I'll never be able to vote again. I have no security in this. Well, I'm here to tell you that I pledge as a state representative to make sure that I will fight to make sure, and I don't think I'm going to have to fight very hard, that we have strong, sharp, hard, fast oversight and investigation. It's already happening, folks. We've got 2 oversight committees. We've got subpoena power. We have subpoenaed records. We've told them to hold. You can't destroy things. All of that has already happened. And we are going to move forward. And we will fix the things that need to be fixed. We will follow up and say, whoa, there was nothing happen. No smoke, no fire here. Don't worry. Or, oh yes, we need to fix this. And the other thing I will tell you, as you move forward, I can never trust the election again. I say, give us a chance. Because if we have time and move forward, because remember, all these cases that have been brought up, court after court after court, have turned them down. And I'm going to tell you something I haven't said before, but I'm going to throw it out there because I've talked to a lot of lawyers who, if you will, are on the Republican side, on the president's side, say, a lot of these lawsuits have really been sloppy. I'm just telling you. You can agree or disagree, but I'm just telling you what I've heard. We assume that our side is gilded and everything's perfect. I'm hearing there's a lot of sloppiness out there, and that's not good. So allow us to do what a legislature is supposed to do. We're a deliberative body. Let us investigate. We will find and we will fix. And if anybody is has done something illegal, and we can prove it, I will fight to get that person, and I shouldn't have to fight hard, I will fight to get that person to be arrested and, if found guilty, thrown in jail, because you can't do that. And let me tell you, this election can't be swept under the rug. Everybody knows where we're at, and everybody knows the anger, and everybody knows the questions. We will investigate. We will fix what needs to be fixed, and we will ferret out any wrongdoers, and we will prosecute them. That will restore our elections. Now, that might not be the answer everybody wants, but as you can see, again, it's not just Michigan that didn't set another slate of electors or didn't recall the ones that were there. All those battleground states too. And our Supreme Court, 7-2, said no to Texas, something that I signed on to. And I've taken a hell of a lot of flack for it. So I am here as one guy, one representative, trying to maneuver through all of this. And I understand the anger. But this country is founded on law. And we have to respect it. And I know there's a lot of constitutional experts out there right now yelling at me. But the Constitution gets interpreted all the time. So your angle might not be wrong, but it might not be accepted by those 9 jurists or the 7 here in Michigan. That's where we're at. So I've heard people say, oh, it's not going to be nice. We need to respect our law. You might not agree with it, but we must stand by it. And I promise you, I will. So I can tell you that as we move into the next term, our incoming Speaker-elect Jason Wentworth, is a stand-up guy. And we will have vigorous and active oversight, and we will investigate, and we will fix, and if need be, we will prosecute. So I might not have given you the answer you wanted, but I want you to know where I stand. I believe in this country. I believe in our rule of law. Might not always like the way it happens, but you got to remember the talking pundits. Remember 8-9 months ago when they were talking about something, you thought they were full of it? They're not the lawmakers. They're not the jurists. And I'll just leave it at that. We will restore integrity in our election system for those of you who are upset. It might not be the course you want. I understand that. But we will, I promise you. If we don't, I'm going to sing like a canary. But I'm not worrying about it because I know our speaker incoming and my colleagues are understanding. We will move forward. We will investigate. So there you go. Agree or disagree. I wanted you to know what I'm thinking. For those of you who have told me in the past, I don't always agree with you, but I appreciate your reasoned approach. That's my reasoned approach for tonight. So with that, I leave you. We're headed into a lame duck. And we're trying to get important bills passed. We've still got to fight COVID, and we've still got to fight the closing, the lockdowns. It's just been a heck of a first term. I will be working for you in my second. Have a good evening, everybody.